3, 2, 1, 0.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Big 12 football with the voice of college football is brought to you by State Farm agent Chris Nowalski. Mountaineer fans, if you don't have State Farm auto insurance, let Chris Nowalski provide you with a no obligation quote to see how much money and better coverage he can get you. Just visit switch2chris.com or call 304-925-0384 for life, home, car insurance, and more. Get a free quote from State Farm agent Chris Nowalski. Now back to our show.
What's up, Big 12 Nation? Here we are. We got a new intro video for you. We got sponsors now. We're doing it big time on the Biggest 12, and that's what you're watching. It's the Biggest 12 with your host, myself, Clint Foster, coming to you from my Palm Beach hotel room out here in Florida. So I'm actually on Eastern time for once here today. Thank you so much for being with us here today. Got a lot of Big 12 football to talk about, a lot of things to get into. As always, if you don't already, please subscribe to the channel. What are you even doing? Subscribe at Big 12 VOCFB. Like it, subscribe, share it to everyone you know. We want to grow the show. We want to evangelize people on this thing. By the way, starting in the new year, this show is going to be exclusively streamed on this Big 12 Voice of College Football channel. So if you've been, mooching off of the main channel, you've been watching it on Mark's channel, time to, move out of your parents' basement, time to venture out into the world and subscribe to Big 12 VOCFB, because this is the only place you're going to get this amazing, dare I say, arguably the best, possibly the best ever show on the internet. Again, I'm Clint Foster. Please follow me on Twitter at Clint_Foster55 on X. If you're one of those, if that's the way you go about things. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's all Big 12 team sketch season, right? We're away from the TCU fans videos. So you need to be following Clint Foster Comedy if you're not already. Subscribe to the channel. Just put out a new sketch for y'all right before Christmas. Hope y'all had a Merry Christmas, by the way, with you and yours. And I'll be having more for you in the new year. Got several scripts I'm working on and a lot of stuff that I think y'all will be into and y'all will like. So also one last piece of show business to get out of the way, especially for you Mountaineer fans in the chat, which I know there are always plenty of y'all. Y'all are definitely going to want to tune in tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern time. The Mountaineer fan show. Hold on, let me get that. The Mountaineer pregame show. Joey Foster, no relation, wonderful human being, going to be hosting that Mountaineer pregame show to get you ready for the Mountaineers bowl game, the Duke's Mayo Bowl against the North Carolina Tar Heels. He's going to have a lot of former players on there, giving their takes on their climb trust that's happening, right? And the likelihood of dunking Neil Brown in mayo, which is something that America really needs right now, right? We need to see mayo slathered all over Neil Brown. That might bring peace to the Middle East. It very likely will. In fact, I'm willing to say that. So definitely tune in. It's going to be right here on Big 12 Voice of College Football, 3 o'clock Eastern time till 5 o'clock Eastern time. That's 2 o'clock Central for my fellow Central Standard Time. That's God's time zone, right? Fellow Central Standard Time folks. Tune in to the Mountaineer pregame show. So let's get going. We got a lot of bowl games already that have happened of Big 12 importance to us. So let's talk about a couple of them, why don't we? We'll start with the Independence Bowl. Texas Tech defeating Cal 34-14. Raiders having a great time out there in Shreveport, and this is one that was not particularly in doubt, with the exception of, very early on, Cal had a little bit of a lead, but we talked about this one, right? Tech was going to get an easy win. I certainly thought in this one, and that proved to be the truth. Tech finishing on a very high note here and locking up that commitment from Micah Hudson, the 5-star wide receiver. I mean, at a certain point, all of this hype has to come to fruition for Texas Tech, right? They got to start winning big games with Baron Morton and the like, and Taj Brooks, and here's another bowl trophy for the case, right? As they go into the new look Big 12 next year and see what that has in store for them. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, the Gasparilla Bowl down here, this neck of the woods where I'm at in Tampa, Florida, the other side of the peninsula. UCF, what happened, man? I don't think we have any Golden Knights who watch this show. They certainly should be. But Georgia Tech, man, defeating UCF 30-17. Bro, okay. So I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. I did not watch this game, but it was fun that I kept up with score-wise. I was just as shocked probably as anybody. I mean, Georgia Tech went out there. They exerted their will. So look at a little bit of stats here from this one. Excuse me. So Georgia Tech ending with a 7-6 record there, get a winning record on the year. That drops UCF down to 6-7. Their first year in the Big 12. Just it's not as though John Rice Plumlee, he did not play well, right? 8 of 16, 49 yards passing and an interception. He did rush for 100 yards and a touchdown. So, make of that what you will. But that Georgia Tech secondary and pass rush just completely shutting him down, completing just 8 passes. I mean, that's definitely never something that's going to end up well for you. And a blocked punt, right? A blocked punt and 4 Colton Boomer field goals. Man, that is just, that's red-blooded American football right there. 4 field goals and a blocked punt, and get yourself a Gasparilla Bowl trophy. So good for y'all, Georgia Tech. Hey, Connor, good to see you, man. Thank you for tuning into the show. Okay, so those are both the words. Oh, we should also talk about future Big 12 member, Utah, everyone's favorite Twitter heel. Man alive, what happened? What happened in this game? Utah loses the Las Vegas Bowl, but that in and of itself is that raises some eyebrows. To Northwestern, 14-7. What happened? I thought Utah was going to come into the Big 12 next year and just run things. I thought this was like the greatest program that nobody was talking about, and they're losing to the shower humpers of Northwestern, 14-7 in the Vegas Bowl. Good gravy, man. I mean, I don't know what there is to say about that other than just utter shock and disbelief. Surely Oregon State Clint has some thoughts on this one. Or Oregon State Connor, excuse me. I was reading Clint Moses and I was looking at Connor. Man, Utah. I tell you this much. I am looking forward to having Utah in the conference, whether they are or not. As a TCU fan myself, I have a lot of fond memories of smacking Utah around and some very tightly contested games before those last two in 2009, 2010. And I think they add a lot of value to the conference, and I cannot wait to have the Holy War back. BYU, all the BYU fans that are there in the chat. But I got to admit, this made me laugh. It was hilarious seeing Utah get thoroughly shut down by a completely pedestrian Big Ten team in Northwestern. Completely pedestrian. I'm loving all this Oregon State love in the chat, man. I mean, what do we have to do to get the Beavers into the Big 12? That's something that the Big 12 is sorely lacking. You want to see the Big 12 really succeed on a national scale? Get some Beavers in here, man. That's what I always say. Okay, so those are the bowls that were. Let's talk about one other piece of news before we get into tonight's big game, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, what the title of this show is all about. We need to talk a little more about Florida State. And this time it's not me defending their honor as much chagrin as that caused me. We got to talk about Florida State making it clear that they have every intention to leave the ACC. And, if you didn't think that this was the ultimate goal of leaving them out of the college football playoff this year, then, I might want to talk to you about a bridge that I have for sale in Arizona. But, yeah, Florida State looking into every avenue to get out of the Atlantic Coast Conference after that being their home for all these years, and looking to potentially pay a $100 million bailout. I don't know if that's the right word for it. Exit fee, $100 million to get themselves out of the conference. That could also potentially mean we're seeing Clemson leave, right? Maybe we're seeing North Carolina leave. Maybe we're seeing Miami leave. Who knows? Louisville, that's another name that's been thrown out there. I want to know from you as I continue to talk about this. What is your ultimate wish list? If you can see any of these teams come to the Big 12, who do you really want to see in the conference? Because obviously Florida State, that immediately elevates the conference in a major way. You've got a travel partner for UCF. You've got another East Coast game for West Virginia. Mountaineers rejoice, right? Trust that climb all the way to more games on the Eastern time zone. But let me know what you think, because here's the thing. Florida State has made it clear that they intend to leave. Big Ten doesn't seem interested, and neither does the SEC, right? So that leaves everyone's favorite cool guy commissioner, Brett Yormark. Is he going to be the guy who swoops in here and says, hey, you want a life raft? You want to be in a power conference? Here you go, baby. Come on, join the Big 12. We would love to have you. Okay, yes. So now, obviously, this is a very highly trafficked show by West Virginia fans. We got a lot of love for Pitt. I would love to see the backyard brawl every single year. I mean, you all know me. I'm a big fan of regional rivalries. I'm a big fan of traditional rivalries. I'd love to see the backyard brawl more often. But is Pitt the most valuable program that we could be adding to the Big 12? I don't think so, right? You're not gaining any new market share by adding Pitt, because you've already got that part of the country locked down with West Virginia, more or less. I think Louisville's a much bigger value add. Plus, Louisville has, not as much rivalry history with West Virginia, but they do have some. And Louisville's also got connections to TCU. They've also got connections to Cincinnati, right? Playing for that keg of nails. Louisville could be a very interesting add. I would love to see us get to, so let's see, we're going to be sitting at 16 with these Pac-12 schools. Let's go ahead and make it an even 20. Let's add Florida State, Louisville, Miami, and North Carolina. That's my wish list right there. Okay. Those are some very big name programs. In a lot of cases, new geographic footprints for TV money, and also really just locking up the Big 12's position as a power conference moving forward for the foreseeable future. Let's see here. So Felipe says Florida State, Miami, Clemson, Georgia. Oh, I forgot about Clemson. My bad. Yeah, put Clemson in there, not North Carolina. Sorry. Actually, no. Clemson, North Carolina. Forget Miami. Sorry, Miami. You got to have Clemson. And I would rather have North Carolina than Miami, because if you're already having Florida State, then might as well add another state in there. Georgia Tech, though, that's interesting. Felipe, defend yourself. Why Georgia Tech? Just because they won the Gasparilla Bowl? Is that what you're so excited about? Sounds like musical chairs. Well, Chris, you're right. Yeah, that's all conference realignment is anymore. It's just a whole bunch of musical chairs, people trying to figure out where they have the best chance to continue to survive. All right. Anybody else here? Well, okay, yeah, we know our Oregon State fans want the Pac-2 to be included, but there's a lot more value add, I think, from going into the Eastern time zone. Yeah, UCF and Georgia Tech could be a rivalry. Well, yeah, after this year, probably. Big Two seemed interested in UNC. Again, wonder if there's a gamesmanship afoot for the best deal. By the way, can you imagine? The Big 12 is already a absolutely nuts basketball conference. Imagine adding UNC into all of this. Oh my God. Well, and Florida State for that matter. And Louisville. Oh my God. Right? This, like, you might as well just auto add the entire Big 12 into March Madness every year. Like, who is ever going to win that conference? On top of Houston, Kansas, TCU these days, Texas Tech, Baylor, all these amazing basketball schools. You add in North Carolina, you add in Florida State, you add in Louisville. Forget about it. Cincinnati. Oh my gosh, man. What a crazy conference. Okay, Tim, what do you think? I would love to see Miami and Virginia Tech. I'd love to see Virginia Tech too. I have a lot of softness for Virginia Tech, and not just because there's a super awesome home field T-shirt that says they were the 1997 bass fishing champions of the nation, which is objectively amazing and American. But yeah, I'd love to see Virginia Tech, and also again, there's connection with West Virginia, but there's a lot of big value names in the ACC to be poached, and also it depends on how big you want to get. But okay, Miami, Virginia Tech, Pitt, Florida State, and Clemson. Yeah, so all the schools that West Virginia cares about, right? That's who you'd like to see. Okay, who else? Yeah, you're right, Per. Big 12 already the best basketball conference, and if they bring Gonzaga, well, yeah, that's another thing that's been bandied about, right? Could Gonzaga get added into all of this? Of course, that would be a basketball-only ad. But, geez, you get to a point, man, all these schools that we've talked about adding, like, are you even ever going to play any non-conference games? You're certainly not going to be able to play all of your conference opponents I don't think now this year we're playing all of our conference opponents twice, if I remember correctly. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Yes, but yes, Palm Beach is where rich folks live. I've seen quite a few of those. I'm here because my wife is working. She had to work over Christmas at a store that she's a regional manager for back in Texas, and so they brought her over to bring the Palm Beach store across the finish line. So Clint gets to sag along and just like bebop around Palm Beach. And today I was looking for manatees and found a very big tree. Follow me on Instagram if you'd like to, if you'd like to follow my Palm Beach adventures, at the Clint Foster on Instagram. Far fewer sports musings. Every now and then, I share clips of my sketches, but mostly it's just like, hey, here's what I'm doing today, right? Looking for manatees. Found a lot of cool lizards too today. Saw a lot of that. Okay. Okay, Joey's mad that I missed his original comment. Sorry. Cliff Hauser, why will TCU finish at the bottom next year, and why will they go 1-11? Explain that. You must be privy to some knowledge that I am not, Joey. Here's the thing. The sky is the limit for TCU next year because Chandler Morris cannot be named the starting quarterback. Okay. Chandler Morris declared that he's going into the transfer portal. No longer can we start the season with Chandler Morris, right? We have to go with Josh Hoover or Haas Haney, who a lot of TCU fans are very excited about. Now state champion, back-to-back state champion for the Alito Bearcats, who's coming to play quarterback for TCU. A legacy, by the way. His mom and dad, both TCU athletes from days gone by. I love Josh Hoover. I think Josh Hoover is really talented, and TCU has been extremely aggressive in the transfer portal with offensive linemen and also on the recruiting trail with offensive linemen, really trying to beef up what was easily our biggest weakness this season. So, man, you give Josh Hoover time to throw. I mean, hey, ask a BYU fan. You give Josh Hoover time to throw, he can be very effective, very efficient. I mean, here's the thing. It's 8 wins or bust next year for TCU, really. If TCU does not make a bowl game next year, then you got to start having some hard conversations about, was Sonny lucky in year one, and do we need to go a different direction? But I don't see that happening. I also really like Andy Avalos, the new defensive coordinator. But, enough of your trash talk, Joseph. All right, we got to move on. Any other thoughts about conference realignment? Let's see. No, me and Joey are not related. I mean, who knows? Maybe we are somewhere down the line, but certainly not to my knowledge. What did ever happen to Chance Nolan, Connor? That's a good question. So for those of you who are unaware, Chance Nolan, former Oregon State quarterback, transferred into TCU last year and proceeded to transfer out before fall camp was even over. So he never even saw, a TCU game uniform. Where he is now, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, Connor. Your guess is as good as mine. Okay, so let's talk about the main event tonight, that being the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, the former home of the Cheez-It Bowl. May it rest in peace. Okay, Kansas taking on UNLV, 8 p.m. Central Time. Ooh, there that happened. 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, for those of us who are on the Eastern Time Zone. This is a game that the more I've looked into it and the more I've thought about it, I'm getting more and more excited about it. I think this game could be pretty fun and could end up being pretty close as well. And not just because of the cool storyline of both of these teams playing in a bowl game for the first time in a while and trying to get their first bowl win for the first time in a very long time. Now, let me double check myself on this because I don't want to tell y'all incorrect information here. I believe that Kansas is trying to win its first bowl game. Let's look back. I'm pretty sure the Orange Bowl was the last one. Yes. So the last time Kansas won a bowl game was the FedEx Orange Bowl in 2008. That was the end of that crazy 2007 season, right? They beat Virginia Tech 24-21. So first time since 2007, that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 years, 16 years, 16 years, 16 years. Yes, I'm a history teacher, y'all. Bear with me. First time in 16 years that Kansas could win a bowl game. And first time in, I don't know, maybe forever that UNLV could win a bowl game. Let's see. UNLV bowl games. I know that this is the most wins they've had in a season since 1984. Okay, UNLV has 4 previous bowl appearances. They're 3-1 in those 4 bowl appearances. Last coming in 2013 in the Heart of Dallas Bowl. Okay. Rebels have not won a bowl game since beating Arkansas in the 2000 Las Vegas Bowl. Man, there's a piece of trivia for you. Arkansas lost to UNLV in the 2000 Las Vegas Bowl. So either way, both these teams trying to break bowl game winless streaks. Very exciting, potential history to be made on either sides of the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Now, here's the thing. When we were all doing our bowl picks episode, I picked Kansas. I feel very firmly that Kansas is going to win this game. But if you haven't already, you need to pick UNLV to cover this game. All right? Is Kansas the more complete team? Absolutely. Kansas has been more well-tested. But UNLV has a very solid offense. They call it the go-go offense. Very efficient, very productive, and very, what's the word I'm looking for? Innovative, okay, and its play calling. Also, very efficient on special teams, okay? They had a kicker who was an All-American candidate this year. 93% accuracy is this kicker. So, UNLV is going to have opportunities to score. And also, I would argue that, Kansas is going to be excited to be playing a bowl game, have an opportunity to win a bowl game, but UNLV is going to be very excited to be there as well. And we've talked about this. We talk about modern bowl games. The want to factor is every bit as important as the talent and who's actually playing in the game, right? So I think this could be a very fun game. Obviously, we're going to have an opportunity to watch it here in an hour, right? So I wish I could have had Austin on here. Austin Eckert, if you're out there, just jump on, man. Get in the chat. We'll talk to you about Kansas. I know he's feeling confident, but somewhat nervous as well because, like I say, UNLV, very solid offense. Let me read you actually something. This is from CBS's preview of the game, CBS Sports. We all know about Jason Bean. We all know about his ability to fill in for Jalen Daniels, and we know that Kansas has a very solid program. This is the top half of the Big 12 program, no question about it. I would argue that, you could even say they deserve to be in a better quality bowl game than this one, but they deserve to be here. UNLV runs a dynamic offensive system under rising star offensive coordinator Brennan Marion. The go-go offense relies on creating mismatches in space, primarily using running backs, and it terrorized opposing defenses in the Mountain West. In Marion's first season, UNLV ranked top 40 in yards rushing and top 25 in points per game. Pretty good, right? The unit only got better. You got to consider, too, they're playing like Boise State, Wyoming, right? These aren't scrub teams. The unit only got better when freshman quarterback Jordan Maiva entered the lineup and added dual threat ability. He finished with nearly 3,000 total yards in 11 games, right? That's pretty good. Okay, so, again, Kansas should win. Kansas is a better team, but I think UNLV makes it interesting, and that's why this is going to be a fun one to watch. And we know that, hey, you're welcome for the 2018 Cheez-It Bowl. We know that some crazy things can happen in this stadium, all right, if we allow them to. So let's see y'all's thoughts on it. Let's see. Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you, Burble. So I guess the line has now moved to -8. I didn't even realize that. So that -10.5 was this afternoon that I saw that. I think it opened at 13, then it moved to 10, and now it's moved again to 8. What does Vegas know? Maybe Vegas is just trying to get some action on Kansas here, probably because a lot of people are betting that UNLV under. Okay, so Chris says Kansas 42, UNLV 35. I don't think that's far off, right? I think, and where does that put us here? That's a 7-point spread. So, yeah, that would then still be covering the new 8-point spread. I like that, Chris. I like that prediction a lot. Okay, so you're right, Clint Moses. They did get stomped by Boise State. It was very, very unfortunate for them. I would have liked to have seen UNLV come away with the Mountain West Championship. And being you're right, UNLV did lose its last 2 games. Yes, against good teams. So that's something that we should all bear in mind. Okay. Dave's, the Purdue defense and the UNLV offense on the same team would be, yeah, right. I find myself thinking this a lot. Like, if we could just mash these 2 teams together, that'd be a great team. Okay, so, okay, so we all agree, yeah, Kansas is going to win this game. Kansas is probably going to win. I think that Chris was absolutely right. It's going to be Kansas by 7, right? Maybe 6. Okay, if things get really interesting. Dennis, what do you think? 42-21 Kansas. Okay, Dennis. Okay. All right. I'm not going to pee in your Cheerios, man. If that's what you think, let's go. Go Big 12, man. Tom says 34-24, right? I mean, we'll get to watch it here in a second. We'll see how things go down. But I think it's going to be a fun one. And, of course, we've talked about the other Big 12 games coming up. Lots of fun ones. The Duke's Mayo Bowl tomorrow. West Virginia UNC. That should be a great game. If West Virginia, I think West Virginia is not favored in that game. They probably shouldn't be favored in that game. But Drake May's not playing. Hey, give me those Mountaineers. I think the Mountaineers are going to win it. Okay. Lynn, what do you think? Jayhawks 45, Running Rebels 31. That's a 90s basketball reference there. I see you, Lynn. Okay. All right. Bean has a question. We'll do this real quick before we wrap things up. What bowl game so far surprised you the most? Well, let me jog my memory here of what we've seen so far. I mean, just before even looking back at the list, that Northwestern Utah score was pretty shocking in and of itself. All right, let's see what else has happened. So, where's the scoreboard? Here it is. Come on, Internet. Help me out. Texas State is beating Rice. That's one that I called. I think Texas State's going to win that game. They're in a close one. Okay. Oh, here's one shocking thing. I don't know if y'all saw this, but the South Alabama, Eastern Michigan fight after the game, that Eastern Michigan lost almost as badly as they lost the game. That was a little bit surprising. Look that up on Twitter if you haven't already. Okay. I've actually been doing pretty good in my bowl picks, y'all. Humble brag. So a lot of this is kind of how I saw things playing out. The Gasparilla Bowl was surprising just because UCF was so inept. Yeah, it's got to be the Vegas Bowl, man. There's nothing else that I have been like, what? As I was with that game, right? Yeah, definitely did not see that coming. Northwestern just shutting down Utah completely. So, yeah, there you go. He attacked him without a helmet. Yeah, you're right, Purple Orca. Yeah, he did. Okay. Oh, and Chris, so West Virginia's favored. That must be the Drake May effect. All right. Well, West Virginia should be favored. Trust the climb. They're going to win that one. Here's what I'm going to leave you with. All right. And of course, you've been watching The Biggest 12. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Okay. Like and subscribe. I want to leave you with mankind's greatest artistic achievement since Michelangelo's David. Perhaps greatest artistic achievement ever, right? You know, we've seen Petra in Jordan. We've seen the pyramids of Giza. We've seen the Eiffel Tower, right? The Brandenburg Gate, the Kremlin. All of the mankind has risen to great heights in his time, but never before has he come so close to the face of God as he has with the creation of the Pop-Tart Bowl trophy. And here it is. Look at that. Is that not the most beautiful trophy you have ever seen in your life? There are Pop-Tarts in the trophy. They're coming out of the trophy as if it were a toaster. And we have Pop-Tarts lovingly displayed along the sides as well. Who wouldn't want to play for this? Who wouldn't want to play for this trophy? Forget the national championship, man. If you're not playing for the Pop-Tart Bowl trophy, like, what are you even doing? Can you really even call yourself a football program? I mean, hey, I'm obviously the Frogs are not bowling this year. We're all just sitting at home, kind of dreaming and wishing and imagining. This is a trophy that I want to win, man. I'm jealous as all get out of Kansas State, not because of a Big 12 championship, not because of, you know, beating us by 45 points. I'm jealous because they get to play for this thing, right? This is the highest achievement that mankind can bestow, right? We've reached peak bowl trophy, and we should all aspire to be Pop-Tart Bowl champions. What a beautiful thing. Merry Christmas, man. Merry Christmas. All right. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Let me get this Pop-Tart Bowl trophy out of here. That glorious thing. All right. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you had a very Merry Christmas. Put in the chat. Hey, was Santa good to you? Did he give you what you wanted? Did you get what you wanted? Did you get some good time with family and friends? I hope you did. Happy Hanukkah to those of you who just finished celebrating Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. I don't know. Do y'all celebrate Kwanzaa? But happy Boxing Day. It's Boxing Day today. If we have any Canadians in the chat. And Happy New Year, man. We're fixing to turn the page on a brand new year. I'll tell you this much. 2023 was a great year for me. 2022 was a great year for me. I'm hoping for another great one in 2024. I'm very blessed to get to hang out with y'all on Tuesdays. I will tell you this. I'm not going to be able to bring you a show next Tuesday. I will be in Disney World next Tuesday. So, if you happen to be in Disney World, I'll meet you at Living with the Land. All right. Let's just say that. We'll chill out. Okay. Drop me a line. Send me a DM on Twitter. But I won't be able to bring you a show. So the following Tuesday, we'll be back at it from my home in Texas. All right, we'll be doing this thing right. But in the meantime, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Thank you so much for tuning in. Subscribe to Big 12 Voice of College Football. Like this video, share it, subscribe. And please follow me on Twitter at Clint_Foster55. Subscribe to my channel at Clint Foster Comedy. I love y'all. Happy New Year, and I hope your team wins. Okay, let's get some music to go. Happy holidays, great show. The U.S. is greater than Disney World, or you, the proper us. Well, maybe, yeah. Well, why don't we all just come? We'll hang out there together. That sounds like a good thing. I agree with you, Joey. Who needs a $3 million Orange Bowl trophy when you can have breakfast for life for only $49.95? Yeah, man. Yeah. Pop-Tart Bowl champions for the win. Man. Love y'all. Happy New Year. See you next time.